what not to do when it comes to eating healthy, having unrealistic expectations, labeling foods as good or bad, and having an all or nothing mindset. An unrealistic expectation would be to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's a lot. And most likely, if you were to achieve that, you wouldn't look good and you wouldn't feel good. So, and those are kind of two things that we want in general, right? No matter what the scale says, we want to look good and feel good. So, when it comes to those goals, have your grand prize, your high top goal, but then chunk it down into milestones along the way. Because when we're working towards a goal, and especially something like losing weight or eating healthier, we need to have many wins along the way before we get to that top prize. And the reason we need this is because if not, we're going to become very discouraged. And when it comes to eating healthy and being on a weight loss journey, you need positivity and you need to feel like you're getting traction because you're changing your lifestyle, and you need to know that this is worth it, this is working, like I'm making progress. And even for any of us, like progress feels good, right? So let's create those mile markers along the way so we can see and feel progress and associate that feeling with a label. Next is labeling foods as good and bad. Now, if we can change our mindset that food is not categorized in a good and a bad, and think of it as a spectrum of what's going to fuel my body versus what are indulgences or special treats. So if we think about this spectrum and know that sometimes in certain areas we might be higher on this spectrum, and then we might have moments where we fall this other way, and that both are okay as long as we are making progress to get towards the top end of that spectrum. Then we're making progress, right? So another thing is when it comes to foods and labeling them as good or bad, that sometimes we can become discouraged or feel guilty if there is a special occasion. Like, let's say your grandma just made a fresh batch of chocolate chip cookies. Like, you're gonna eat them, right? Because they're your grandma's cookies and they're the best in the world. So you can have that, even though it's on the spectrum, maybe not where you typically are, but to know that you can have those and not feel guilt. And if we can get to a point where we don't feel guilty about having some indulgences, then this journey of ours of eating healthier is going to last a lot longer. And you're gonna feel better, which feeling better about our food choices is gonna gain you confidence, which is bigger picture, like you are in control and you are feeling good about this journey you're on. So labeling foods as good and bad, switch that mindset and thinking what will fuel my body versus what's an indulgence. And last is having an all or nothing mindset. I cannot tell you how much this will ruin progress. And it could be on both ends. So if you have an all in, like, this is what I'm doing, I'm only eating these foods, or I'm only doing this, that mindset is very restrictive. And we think about the long term, that restrictive diets and restrictive eating is not good. And it's not good for our mindset, because if you tell me not to eat something, I'm gonna want to eat it, or it's constantly going to be on my mind and constantly like tapping me on the shoulder like, hey, remember me, like your favorite, like chocolate chip cookie over here, your favorite, like ice cream sundae, like it's always going to be there. So if we can have grace with ourselves, that when we're starting to eat better, that we can have grace, we can have those indulgences, that it's okay. Now the nothing side of it, and thinking that, okay, once you've had that indulgence, that, well, there it is, that was it, like there goes my diet for the day. Like, no, like it's one time, like it's okay. Just turn yourself around and get right back to where you were. So let's say you have your meals planned out for the day, you know what you're going to eat, you have all the best intentions of eating those meals and making healthy choices, but you get sidetracked and something comes up. It's okay to have that and know that it's one time. I'm going to get right back on and I'm going to do good the rest of the day. Or even if it hits you at night or if it's a weekend, don't let the whole weekend go to waste. Like, it's okay to have fun, to enjoy foods and indulgences, but just get yourself right back on track, and you can do that. So, when it comes to eating healthy, set realistic expectations. Think of food as what will fuel my body, and know that you can have grace with yourself and have a good mindset towards food choices.